7,
8,
9,
10.
Yes.
Hey. Hi,
Hi.
everybody.
You go first. What's your update, Sheila?
I'm just loving Jerrod Carmichael's show. It makes me cry. It makes me laugh. I love what he's doing.
Hold on, we gotta start over. Apologies. I didn't hit this right. Shh. Ready? 1, 2, 3, press. 1,
2,
3,
4,
5,
6,
7,
8,
9,
10.
Yes.
Hello. Hi, everybody. I just want to say that I am obsessed and anticipating Jerrod Carmichael's next episode drop for his new reality show. I watched the second episode and it's so rich with complexity, relatability, vulnerability, but not at the same time. It's just a lot. It's just so much. Did you watch the second episode?
Yes, I did.
Oh, my goodness.
He's catching hell for that. And I was like, God.
Well,
they don't like the joke at the very end. That's all people are focused on.
People don't like the truth. People really don't like the truth and how messy and complex and how non-linear and perverse and hard and fucked up the truth often is, child. But shout out to him for doing this. I wonder how he's feeling. I know he's feeling all types of things. I know he's feeling tender. But I imagine he knew he was going to confront this. Maybe he didn't. But I'm enjoying it. And I'm grateful for this show. I'm also a little bit obsessed with Willow Smith these days. I went into her catalog and I've been listening to her music. And I feel like a young emo teenage girl. And I'm trying to put Jolie on because that's like, I would love, if I were like 13 years old, to be walking down the street listening to Willow Smith screaming in my ear. But I think she's coming out with a new album. And she came out with a new song, Big Feelings. And I just want to shout her out because I just love seeing her range. And she's just excellent and has grown. Do you remember I whipped my hair back and forth? Remember that?
Yeah.
She's just a delight to watch mature.
She told her daddy, she was like, I don't actually want to do this anymore. He was like, wait, what?
She said,
Willow Smith is you. Dog. Yeah. She was like, this doesn't feel right. I don't want to do this. Sorry, Jay-Z.
Jay-Z? What he had to do with it?
She was signed to Rock Nation.
For real?
I'm pretty
sure.
For her. Yeah.
She probably saved herself from so much shit she wasn't ready for. Lord of mercy.
Yeah.
Love her. Admire her. Want to see her keep growing and glowing up. Shout out to Willow and the Smiths.
I don't really have any update. I mean, I too watched Jerrod because I know that you're going to bring it up. I think it's fascinating. I think he's fascinating. The whole thing with his boyfriend, who he's like trying to love but can't stop getting his own way and cheating. It's like, do you really love this guy, or is he your security blanket, and when he's not around you don't know how to act? Like, I don't know if that's really love. Bell Hooks would not call that love. But it was really interesting to see him operate and escape and avoid and put it out there. And even the end, like when I heard him say the end, I was like, ugh. And I think that's, the whole thing, the whole joke, I don't want to ruin it, but the whole joke about, his boyfriend is white and sometimes he likes to tell a joke about.
Say the joke. It's okay. I mean, it's out there.
That he's about to tell that he likes to tell the joke about sometimes he wants his boyfriend to be like a slave owner and he's the slave, and even the audience cringed, and he was like, all right. And he was like, my boyfriend does the same thing because he's a good person like you. Like, that's literally not even a minute of the entire episode. And I think he's showing again there his kind of perverse humor that's rooted in pain, right? That's rooted in being like defiled in a way and not really honored. And like, what does that mean? And his interactions with a lot of the men outside of his boyfriend feels very transactional. I would even argue with the boyfriend, there's a transaction happening that on his end, where like he's like, I need you to love me, so I need you to give me some kind of energy so that I forget how much of a mess I am. And when you're not there to do it, I can only be a mess. And the way that he just lied to that man, and the way that the man about being faithful, and the way that his boyfriend knew based off of how the cameraman closed in on his face, and he was like, wait a minute, they know something I don't know. And it's like, bro, you know this is going to come out.
I know.
You know that there's going to be consequences to this, and you still
He couldn't stop himself. I think that my thing is that in some way, shape, or form, and it's all very, maybe it's not to that magnitude, we all are perpetuating something in our lives the same way, but his is big. And I just said, big. And it's interesting because you were like, oh, his body language, that's his body language all of the time. It wasn't just with Tyler. That's what he does. This is what he does. And I was like, interesting.
He's concave.
He collapses into himself. And I was like, interesting.
Yeah.
His little beautiful self. He's still just brilliant and beautiful and trying to figure this out. I think in it is him really reckoning with himself. It's hard.
I'm more interested to see, or I'm not more interested, but I'm very interested to see him with his family.
Really?
I really want to see that dynamic with his mother and with his father. I really do. Because I think that is going to give us the why for a lot of this other stuff.
Yeah. He's also talking about his early sexual experiences.
Yeah.
And I feel like we don't name that a lot. How early sexual experiences, in the name, I can't recall if it was just him being curious or just kids being kids, but how those make impressions on us that last for a lifetime. I'm just grateful that he revealed and talked about that too. Sweet baby Jerrod. I'm gonna pray for him because Anywho,
I don't know.
Shout out to him. When does that air? Is it Mondays, Sundays? Actually, I don't know.
I don't know. I will say that I finished The Walking Dead. Talked about this last Monday a little bit, but I need a new show. I believe that someone wrote Shotgun. They say in the Shotgun TV show. I might have made that up. Shotgun TV series. I don't know why somebody said the Shotgun is as good as Game of Thrones. And I'm like, is it? What? Because I ain't never heard of it. Now, if it is, I think
Shotgun or Shout. Is it Asian?
No. I don't know.
Because I heard that there's an Asian version that is...
Maybe that's what they're talking about.
It's an Asian cast that is really, really good and very similar to storyline.
Maybe that's what they're talking about.
Shogun? I'm being racist and I apologize.
No, you're not. Maybe it was a typo on Twitter and it's actually Shogun.
It's Shogun. Yeah, people really, really at least my dad was talking about it.
So maybe that's my new thing. I need the community to help me find a new show to binge and to be into. I'm looking for fantasy. I'd like to escape the real world. Or something just like what's The Walking Dead fantasy? Not really. I mean, I know that there were zombies and shit, but it was still kind of real world.
I hope so. No.
It was more of a drama.
Yeah.
I
Okay, you're
want
talking
like
about
to
completely
fall
like in a
into
whole
a
new world.
world. Yeah, I want to learn a world like Game of Thrones. I
Okay.
want to be
Uh-huh.
immersed in like, what is this? And I'm really thinking about going back to the Star Wars.
Star Wars?
Star Wars. I'm thinking about getting that
Interesting.
Disney Plus out and going back because I never gave the new Star Wars stuff a chance. Me and my dad went to the movie theater when the old Star Wars came back out in the movie theaters. And I was like, I don't want to see none of these new actors. I don't want to see none of this new plot. But I actually hear it's good.
Interesting.
Rosario
Yes.
Dawson is in there doing the most, I hear. And people are really loving it. They're also really loving some new X-Men thing. But I don't know how y'all watching that. But I saw Marquise talk about it. So I need a new show. Help me. Is it Shogun? Is it Star Wars? Should I go back and fetch it? Sankofa moment? I don't know. I really don't know. And I don't know that I can make the decision right now. Help. That's it. I need a new show to binge.
Set in Japan in this year 1600 is the setting of it. Lord Yoshi Taranaga is fighting for his life as his enemies on the Council of Regents unite against him when a mysterious European, not the Europeans, you know, it's fucking up, intrigue and backstabbing when them niggas show up. When a mysterious European ship is found marooned in a nearby fishing village.
What does marooned mean?
You toss it onto the ground.
Is
Boom.
that really what it means?
Tossed. You know how they shipwrecked.
You're so annoying.
It's
trapped,
racist,
isolated in an inaccessible place, especially in Ireland. Okay, yeah, you're right. All right, stranded. When a sailor's boat is washed up on the shore of a deserted island after a big storm, both the sailor and the boat are marooned. Maybe that's it. We'll see. I was about to say something fucked up, but I was like, if it's subtitles, I'm not watching it. Well,
it's so good
why
for
would it
you
be
though.
Subtitles?
You should watch it if there's subtitles though, because you can't do anything else but watch it. You can't look at your phone.
Yeah, I need it.
Can't scroll.
Yeah, I can't do that. I gotta multitask. You know me. I'm never present. We'll see. Next up. Also, I want to announce this again that we are hosting a giveaway. 7 tickets to the musical. I don't know if it's a musical. To the Broadway show Home. This is sponsored by Culture LP. Shout out to them. Home is a muscular and melodic coming-of-age story that gives voice to the unbreakable spirit of all Americans who have been searching for a place to belong. And that's going to happen May 19th at 3 p.m. I'm going. Shanti's going. Shanti's bringing a +1. Who you coming with, girl?
JoJo.
JoJo?
Yeah, it's coming of age. She's going to love this.
Oh my
or
God.
Not.
7 of y'all going to be able to meet JoJo to God. She going to be like, hi. Anyway, please, all you have to do is send us an email. Hopefully the tickets are gone by now, but send us an email. We will allow you and a +1 to come. And once the tickets are out, the tickets are out. But you can also buy a ticket. Yeah, I mean, come through with the come through. May 19th,
Support.
Matinee show. But the first 7 are on us. All right, kids? In other news, we have voicemails. Let's get into it. Our first voicemail comes from a man.
Oh.
Ready? Go.
Hey, this is David from New York. I listen to you guys all the time, and I thoroughly enjoy the depth of the conversation. And I'd like to hear some feedback on the idea that me and a bunch of men talk about with respect to when you're in a relationship with a woman and you as a man have been fucking up for so long, or the culture of men, especially in the Black community has been fucking up for so long with infidelity, not showing up as our best self, not being vulnerable, not being intimate, not being accountable. How when you get with a guy who actually does that, who actually shows up, who's actually accountable, who's actually intimate, who's actually opening up and peeling back, the onion for himself, that we find that is a moment when women do not. It's easy to complain about somebody not being vulnerable, not being intimate, not being held accountable when you don't have to. But when it becomes time for you to do that, it's a task, right? And that has been my experience, and that has been the experience of a lot of the men that I talk to, right? That have a hard time being in relationships and being vulnerable and being accountable and being intimate and getting the women that we're with to do the same thing. And I think a lot of that has to do with cultural history. And, for years, men have been dropping the ball. Thank you.
All right, David from New York. Go what up,
You
huh?
coming at our motherfucking necks like that.
You want to go first, Sheila?
You ain't never lied. It's real out here, when you have to meet yourself and you finally have somebody that holds up a mirror with kindness and you gotta be accountable. That's very real. And I don't know if that is a gendered thing as much as it is just a very human thing. And yeah, I think that's very important for us to talk about and include in the public discourse. Yeah, love is very scary. Love is terrifying. And I think that all of us, men and women, have some ways that we have to untangle, unravel, and redefine what we think love really is. And it's scary. It's a scary thing. So let's talk about it. I love that idea. Love it.
Yeah, I also push back a little bit. It's my new thing. I don't know that Black men, because you said especially in our community, I don't know if you mean this or if you're being specific to our community, but I don't think that Black men show up any less than other races. I just don't. I mean, the statistics say, at least with fatherhood, that they definitely show up actually more, believe it or not. So the narratives are very important here. I also think that when it comes to Black men and Black women, that's what I'm assuming you're talking about, that I think there's a culture around healing and unlearning that is really hard. I don't know if it's, I'm similar to Shanti. I don't know if it's gendered. I think that there's so much stuff to sort through based off of the obstacles that folks face as a result of who they are in this world. But you're asking, what do you do when someone doesn't meet you there or is having a hard time, a woman specifically, since you're a man that's dating women? I think the same thing that women do when they meet men like that. I think it's like, hold that mirror up. If you have the space to give grace, to be a reflection, to help unlearn, to help heal, to hold hands, to encourage healing, because it starts with them. Sure, but I do think that you should be able to point it out. I do think that you should be able to voice that you're someone that's showing up ready to be loved and ready to love, and you're not necessarily getting that back. Yeah. And I think it's really important that we, on this podcast, Shanti, myself, women, men, non-binary folks, that we all recognize the ways in which we all do that we all fail to show up as our most loving and open to be loved selves, and try to root out the why. Yuck. That's
Hated
the word.
It.
Boo.
Ugh.
But that's a great conversation. I mean, I think what you're getting at is that women, it sounds like you're getting at that women think that it's only men that's falling short on this.
He's like, women ain't shit either. For real. We're going to talk about how women ain't shit for real. Ooh.
Well, you came to the right Caping for Men podcast, King. Welcome. They're going to be like, Antoinette, boo! Thank you for that. Again, call back. Let's continue this conversation. Maybe you come on the podcast. Maybe you and your homies that's all ready for love come on the podcast, and maybe we have a great conversation, and maybe one of y'all take Shanti out.
Yeah.
Or she says that.
I don't know what makes y'all think that I'm in any place of one being like, and these niggas ain't ready to love me, because I am not well.
That is not true. We have to stop saying things like that.
No, I know that I have work to do. So I would never be the one like, oh, these niggas, I'm ready and these niggas ain't ready. No. We ain't ready.
Like, yo, can we talk about that twins clip? It's another conjoined twin out there. Did you see? They sent it in the DMs.
They all out there. They all out here.
Also,
living their life.
Girl, somebody wrote on Patreon, it was like, they said that tweet is fake. I said, well, it was good content.
It really was. Why would they do that and lie on them twins' vagina like that?
The singular vagina.
They lied on her.
Irritating.
Why are you lying on our vagina like that?
He said, we's getting married. Shut up. Yo, the way I watched that clip so many times. All right, ready? Next up.
Ladies, my apology. I'm calling back. I got cut off the first time I was leaving you a message regarding your episode where you were discussing a bunch of different hormones that involve falling in love. But Shanti mentioned vasopressin, and it's also responsible for the monogamy factor in relationships. So depending on your level of vasopressin as a man or a woman, you are either likely to stay monogamous or unlikely to stay monogamous. And I think that's really interesting because we tend to see monogamy and, commitments to one person as like a cultural or a sociological thing, but it actually could be hormonal. It could be genetic.
Wow.
It could be something that was passed down to you.
Do not tell these niggas this.
It could make it difficult for you to remain monogamous or easy for you to stay monogamous, which I find fascinating because we often hear this argument that it's really hard for men to be monogamous or it's not natural for them to be monogamous. But there are indeed women out here who struggle with monogamy and who are more inclined to be non-monogamous and may be shamed for that inclination. So maybe that could be something you talk about as well, or a spin-off conversation. But I'm fascinated with it. I studied it during early childhood education coursework and was like obsessed. There's not a ton of research out there, but I still was like low-key obsessed because when it comes to genetics, it could be a factor. Anyway, just wanted to add my 2 cents. Peace.
That's the women Dave is dating.
Yeah, they got that vasopressin. My vasopressin levels is abnormal, nigga. Like, I can't. My cat can do it. We want to, but my cat. My vasopressin is...
Is that how you say it? I'm not even trying to say that word. How you say it?
I don't think vasopressin... Women have vasopressin, though. But maybe I'm wrong. She said it's for the men. Vasopressin men like to fuck and fight, apparently, and protect, like pit bulls. They're like, Doberman pinchers. That was called Doberman pincher? What's it called? A Doberman pincher?
I don't know.
That's crazy. I like those. Those are some set. First of all,
your
a
train
Doberman
of thought.
pincher. I just looked at the picture. That is my type. That's what I would want to protect my house if I had one. Those are some badass. They don't fucking play.
Oh, they
get money protectors too, and they rich. You gotta be rich to have them. You can't have them in the hood. You know what I mean? You gotta have an estate to have a Doberman.
Shut up, Shanti.
For real.
Where do you get this shit from?
That's what it looks like, right?
Talking, yo.
Sure.
Shut up. Do you want to talk anything about what that lady said, or you just want to talk about that dog?
I hear you, Queen. Don't let that out in the streets, because the niggas gonna use it. They gonna say their vasopressin levels was high that day.
So wait, the vasopressin. Wait, if it's high, I thought you committed. If it's low, I thought
vasopressin was low that day. I had low vasopressin, and maybe the women.
She said maybe y'all could talk about it. Obviously, we can't, because we don't know. Maybe you can come on and talk about it. Everybody come on the podcast. Teach us something.
Incredible.
Interesting. Vasopressin. Oh,
but yeah, biology, baby. Some things we just can't help it. I can't help it.
I can't help it if I wanted to. All right, ready?
Mm-hmm.
This one's going to get us into our main topic before we're going to take a break, and then we'll get into it. 1, 2, 3, go.
Hi, this is Kimberly from a listener from North Carolina. I called before, and my dog knocked my phone from my hand.
Pincher.
I'll try to make this message short because the other one was kind of long-winded. But I currently am an engineer. I work for an engineering firm. I've been in the construction engineering industry for the past 10 years. However, God has put it on my heart over the years to start my own business, work for myself. And God, I feel, is making his message louder and louder and louder. The only thing stopping me is the uncomfortability of it. I've grown very used to all the cushion that a corporate job provides with benefits, paid days off, somewhat guaranteed pay increase each year. But I know I could be making more for myself if I worked for myself. I'm 36 years old now, and as I get older and older, I'm seeing how leadership, my supervisors are my age, maybe slightly older than me, and some of their direction and leadership styles don't really coincide with mine, and as a result, we bump heads a lot. A lot of the tension is really just born from me knowing that I should be doing other things. So it's on my heart, in short, to start a small business, but I'm scared. So my question for you ladies is specifically Antoinette. I know she works and she speaks about working in corporate. How the hell did you make that leap to still holding your corporate job, but also working for yourself? Please tell me all the secrets, any advice that you have. Because I know it's something that God's pushing me to do, but I'm scared. And I don't want advice of, oh, well, just jump, just take the leap. Everything I know is scary. Can you give me logistical details of how, as much as you can without oversharing your business, of what it looks like, what you went through, what you're currently going through, and if it's worth it? That's all. Thank you. Have a great day, ladies. I love your show. Don't change a thing. Bye.
I'm glad she asked you, because I'd be like, take a leap.
This is going to get us into our main topic. Let's take a break. I'm going to respond to this after the break. I'm respond to this.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
And we are back. So I wrote down a couple. You wrote, you should be. One, thank you for calling. But you wrote, you should be. You should be doing this. And I wrote, should be, ? Why should you be? That's my first question. And then you said, how did I take a leap? And I wrote, what leap? So that's where I'm at. Sis, I know because she called before and she got cut off. She talked about that. And her question before was, how do you manage both? How do you have a full-time job and do X, Y, and Z?
Yeah.
I will say it is very hard. I am not an engineer. So I have a job where I work a lot of hours. I do. And it does require a lot from me. I also am able to multitask in a way where I can listen and research for this podcast while I'm doing that. Not every job allows you to do that, where like, if I'm not on calls and I could sit there and listen to something, I just learned how to highlight articles and have it speak so I can listen. So I'm constantly, all very sure, I'm constantly multitasking, which I joke about it, but it doesn't allow me to ever be present. I suffer in my romantic life. My partner and I talk, and I have my laptop open in front of me at 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night as I'm doing stuff, and he's very patient about that. It's very hard. It's very hard to do. I don't know what type of business. I would imagine that you're trying to do a business that has to do with engineering. And to do both it's not a leap, it's just more work.
It's a stretch.
It's a stretch. That's the best word for it. I feel like I'm not leaping at all because I don't know where to leap to. Shanti and I, full disclosure, were just talking about taxes before we started recording. It's Thursday, April 11th. It's 11:27 at night. We are still recording. We both have to work in the morning. And I'm not done my job. So after this, I'm going to keep my laptop open and get in the tub with it. Hope it doesn't fall in the tub and continue to work. I don't know if that's the life that folks want. And I think that you need to be honest about what you can and cannot do, the same way that I'm trying to do that more and more. But it's very hard. And I listened to your voicemail, and it made me think about work. And I have this weird thing with work where I'm like, half of me hears like the Shanti folks that are like, why do we have to stretch ourselves like this? And I get it. I'm like, why do we have to stretch ourselves like this? Because it all comes down to, can I make a living, right? I'm one of these people similar to you. I benefit from having paid time off. I benefit from having benefits. I got an IUD, everything's covered. Didn't pay a dime. Don't even have to think about it. Dentist, all these things I don't have to consider. But there is an exchange. There's a transaction. There's a lot that you give up in order to have that security. And what you give up is 40 to 50, 60 hours of your week that are not your own. And it's difficult, to not be able to, like, I see the way, Shanti, you can like move and like maneuver throughout the day, and you work very hard, but there's a flexibility to your schedule where like, I don't have that at all. I have from the hours of like 6:30 to like, don't let me have to run an errand and shit closes at 6. I'm stressed. How do I do it? I'm not done work in time to even get there. So then everything has to be done on Saturday. And what if I can't get there? Then I can't work out. Then I can't, like, it's just so much. It's so difficult to manage. And I really don't have an answer for you, sis. Because it really depends on what the job would entail. And can you scale back? Do you have any savings to be able to scale back while you build this? Can you take out a loan? Like, what can you do so that you can still sustain yourself while you build it? Because that's really the thing. I would not work for the job that I work for if I could sustain myself another kind of way. And that's just the truth. Do you have anything to offer?
Yeah, I think you have to be cognizant. You have to be committed to the building part, right? Like, I think a lot of folks get exhausted by, rightfully so, the amount of time it takes to build something. I think a lot of us think like, oh, I'm going to quit my job and start this business and it's going to be able to sustain me, or it's going to, be this fully mature business. And it just doesn't work like that. It takes a lot of time. So I think it's a stretching. I think you have to also, if don't know anything about business, it's just a huge learning curve that you have to absorb a lot of information, and people do it different ways. Some people are doing lots of research first, and the more that you know, the more you can figure out how to make those demands align with your life, or you just kind of jump right in and make it stretch. I don't have enough information to know what it is that you're trying. Are you trying to do something completely different? Are you trying to be a baker? Like, are you trying to be a consultant? Because all of that, to engineering, you're opening your own firm. All of those are very different timelines and amount of effort and resources and information that you'll have to put into it. But it's a commitment. It's a commitment, and you're building it, and it's slow, and it can be extremely rewarding if that's in alignment with what you want. But it strips you. I think that when you choose to do things on your own, you're inevitably stripped in a way that doesn't happen or is not as drastic and jarring as when you're working for someone else. But yeah, you're stripped. Your skill set, your ambition, your drive, all of these things are constantly being tested, and you're constantly being asked to stretch. You're just growing. It's like having a business. It's like having a kid in a lot of ways. You just don't know until it happens. And as much as you want to prepare, take the classes, save your money. Niggas started a business in 2019, December of 2019, had everything set up the way they wanted it. And then boom, 2020 hit and everything just was completely changed. So you have to, you can't prepare for it. And I know you don't want to hear it, but you just, in many ways, you have to do it. And you just keep putting one foot in front of the other and stretch or not. And that's okay.
Yeah, I think that she does. Yeah. Leave it at that. This made me go to, I'm going to pull it up. Because of course I have a clip. Of course. Let's hold for a second so I can get this back.
Hey, Ryan Reynolds here. Big Wireless has once again raised their prices. In response...
Okay. This made me go back to the School of Life. I love the School of Life. It's my new jam. And I saw this video. It was suggested for me, which I thought was funny. And it said, should I choose passion or duty? And I was like, what does that mean? And I want to play a clip, of course. Clip girl. Let's play it.
When it comes to deciding what to do with our lives, we are frequently presented with what looks like a very painful choice. The passionate path versus the safe path. The latter involves the slow mastery of a dependable profession. We will be bored, but we know we'll never be fired. Meanwhile, the former is a high-wire act in which we fantasize generating an income from what we deeply love. and yet we constantly fear penury and humiliation. The choice can feel acute, but it may be less so than it seems once we properly explore the concept of safety. We are never properly safe so long as we are doing something we hate or are pursuing out of cowardice. In the deeply competitive conditions of modernity, our backup career, the one we adopt out of...
I went too far. Shit. Sorry.
Once we properly explore the concept of safety, we are never properly safe so long as we are doing something we hate or are pursuing out of cowardice.
Okay. So basically, I listened to that first half and I was like, So you, on the one hand, you have this idea where like you go with your passion, right? And like, but if you go with your passion and you're full of all this fear of like, am I going to fail? Is it going to work out? Am I going to embarrass myself? Like, what's going to happen? There's all this uncertainty, right? But if you go with your duty, and then there's this like, okay, I have steady income. I feel like I know what's going on around me, but there's all of this unfulfillment and it feels like cowardice, right? And then I was like, okay. And she has that question about safety. Like, are you ever fully safe if one, you're experiencing the passion, like you went with your passion, but you feel unsteady maybe, or you're scared. But if you go with the duty, are you fully safe if you are constantly confronting what you feel is cowardice? So I wanted you and I, because I was like, oh, I just feel like, and I could be wrong, but I feel like you went with your passion and I went with my duty. And I'm curious to know what safety is for the two of us.
I don't have passion. I don't think that I'm
you were going to
living.
say that.
I don't think I live my life. Do you think I'm passionate about what I do?
I think that you're passionate about not being caught up in the corporate rat race of it all, where you're like, that didn't feel good. I'm not interested in that. I'm not going to play that game. I want my life to feel a certain kind of way, and you're passionate about how you want your life to feel. I don't necessarily think that it feels the way you want it to feel, but you know, or you did seemingly know that you didn't want the 9-to-5 kind of cubicle, sit at your desk lifestyle. Am I wrong there?
No.
Okay.
No, I could never do that.
Okay.
I think I feel more driven by curiosity in my life than passion. And for me, I don't by any means live my life and be like, oh, I'm just going to throw it all to the wind and what will be without a constant fear of failure or that there's going to be absolutely nothing to sustain me or nothing to show for at the end of my life. I think that is something that I have to meet and wrestle with all the time. I think what I'm trying to explore is the idea of alignment, right? Like it's an idea of, yes, does this feel right? It's deeply rooted in my intuition. It's deeply rooted in, a feeling of self-betrayal. Am I betraying myself? Do I feel conflicted or do I feel curious? And because curiosity with me is connected to delight and like makes me want to keep going. I'm okay with like not knowing the answer, but I'm delighted I'm just like still discovering, and it still feels like, oh, there's more to uncover, there's more to learn, there's more to explore, there's more to do. And that's what I feel that I don't ever want to sacrifice. And I know when I'm not doing that, when I feel conflict in a way, or I feel like I'm betraying myself. And yes, a 9 to 5 or corporate spreadsheets. I can't say that I may not have curiosity in that. I have yet to find out what kind of job that is. I haven't had the exposure or like the life path that led me to something that, not to say that that kind of life doesn't mean that you can't be led by curiosity, but in my life right now, I have yet to be directed towards that kind of like corporate job that is restrictive and offers benefits and all those things.
So then what is safety for you when it comes to work?
Nothing. I don't believe in I don't think it's possible. It's all we are reckoning with this entire life is mad uncertainty. To think that you're going to be safe, either passion or duty, you're being delusional, and it's the grass on the other side. And when you do your passion job, you're going to be dealing with uncertainty. I don't know. I don't believe, or I don't think that's what I need for safety. I just need to be able to manage it and to keep going, knowing that like everything is uncertain. Everything is wildly unsafe. What do you think is safety?
Not for everybody, but for me, there's safety, there's financial security. There's safety in knowing that like there's job security. There's safety in knowing that I can afford my life, that I won't be stressed and feel tight about money or being unable to treat myself to the small little things that I do. That I will, right now I don't have it, but security would feel like I know that I'll be able to retire at some point in my life and I have to work like this all the time. That if I have a medical emergency, I won't go into debt because I have coverage, to me, that feels like security. That feels like, okay, I'm good. And that is what the dutiful job offers, right? And if I were to, like, I have a ton of friends, right, who make a ton of money in the podcast world. Oh, excuse me, I'm hitting the mic. And they don't have health insurance. And I'm just like, huh? Like, that stresses me out. And when I say a ton of money, I mean a ton of fucking money. No health insurance. None. That makes me, and that gives me anxiety. That makes me hot. Like, how?
But is that connected to financial then? Is that?
Yeah, it absolutely is. Because for me, why do I keep hitting this mic? I'm sorry, Monty. The way that I see that is, if something were to happen, if I needed X, Y, or Z, I don't have that. Like, I have friends who don't go to the regular primary care doctor because they don't have insurance, or they don't get a GYN visit because they don't have insurance. Like,
but not because they can't afford it. It's because they're making a life choice to like not prioritize.
Some of them feel like they can't afford it based off of, well, they don't make the couple of them, it's not a ton of money, but some of them feel like, well, it costs so much money to pay for this insurance. I'm just gonna chance it. But either way, there's something about knowing that I have it. There's something about knowing if I got sick and I couldn't podcast for my job, if I got sick, I have paid time off. I'm covered, in a different kind of way. And so that provides quote unquote security for me. But
How do
that
you
is
feel
deeply, I was about to say, that is deeply attached to me sometimes. Well, one, I want to find a job where I feel more curious and more interested in it, right? The tricky part about that is being able to have some of the flexibility that I still have. So that's my hang up there. But also, it is attached to a cowardice. It does stress me out where I'm like, ugh, I'm being a coward. I'm being scared. I'm not taking that leap that everybody says. But I'm also like, well, what the fuck is the leap? What am I leaping into?
Yeah.
You know, something else that feels better than this. You know, I had my sister say to me, we were talking about when I got out of school and was pursuing musical theater and acting and singing. And she was like, did you really try though? Because like, did you really do it? She was like, you went on like a couple auditions, you got a couple gigs, and then you stopped.
Mm.
And it was like, that really sat with me of like, but that lifestyle of begging for my gig, for my money, feeling like that, feeling unempowered in that way was just like, this can't be my life. This does not work for me. There's no stability here. I don't feel good here. And it doesn't make me want to pursue any kind of art. And now, you know, you have the 9 to 5 and Around the Way Curls is kind of my art, but my other art suffers completely. I don't even do it half the time. So it's like that kind of cowardice.
Okay.
And tug of war. I want to keep going with the videos.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
In the deeply competitive conditions of modernity, our backup career, the one we adopt out of fear, will be someone else's central ambition. Our plan B will be someone else's plan A, which places us at an immediate disadvantage in terms of the energy and focus we are able to muster. The safe choice might ruin us. By contrast, what we love is what we are obsessed by anyway.
Sure.
We do it for free, which decisively increases our chances of mastery while reducing the price of failure. A decade of mixed results on a passion project is inherently less onerous than unspectacular returns for a whole career in a hateful field.
I thought that was so interesting at this juncture of my life because I'm at work right now and really struggling. And it's evident because I'm working, I'm paired up with someone, and we have the same title, the same job, and this job is this is what she wanted to do. This is what she wants to do. She wants to climb the ladder. She's so passionate about it. She's in it. I mean, jumping in and being like, I can do that. Oh, I'd love to learn about this. I'd love to, like, in it and dedicated and committed in a way that I am just not. And it is the juxtaposition, you know, it's shining a light on how I'm like, I'm here for my job, to do my job, and to go the fuck home. Mm-hmm. This job is going to financially support me so that I can do my podcast work and sustain my life. Like, I'm not here to climb up your ladder. I'm not invested in that way. I'm not a lifer. And it's becoming blatantly clear as a result of me working with her. And I cannot meet that same energy. Like, we have the same supervisor. My supervisor's like, I want you to do a vision board for what you see yourself here. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do a vision board. I just want to do my job and go home, sis. That's it.
But energetically, are you accepting of that? And you're like, this is cool. Like, this is fine. Or does it cause what is the energetic consequence? I think that's what I'm curious about.
The energetic consequence of that is that I'm constantly giving my time, and I'm aware that I'm giving so much of my time to something that I am not passionate about, that I'm not truly invested in, which to me is like, this is not where you're supposed to be. And then it taps on that you're being a coward. You're doing something that's not in alignment with you, and you're doing it just to achieve that safety. And I think that's what Sis was getting at in her voicemail, where she's like, yeah, I'm here, I'm doing the thing, but I'm having all these signs that I'm supposed to be doing something else, but I don't know how to fucking do that, because what is this leap? What are these steps I'm supposed to take? What is this roadmap? How the fuck do I sustain myself? And it's the investment would feel draining, but it's also just as draining to do the work as I'm doing it with that in the back of my mind. So I'm curious, since you said that you're like, I don't have passions, which I don't know if I believe that, if I'm being completely honest. I don't know if you know what your passions are, or maybe you don't, I don't know. But like, is there any, with that said, like, then do you have anything that you're, like, when it comes to Sable, right? Sable to me is your full-time gig. Is there anything, like, do you ever look at other business owners who are like, I am absolutely 10 toes down in this business. I'm supposed to be doing this. I am an entrepreneur, screaming it from the rooftops, like, just completely, utterly invested in that, lives and breathes entrepreneurship. Do you ever look at that and be like, what the fuck? Because I'm looking at this girl and she's holding up a mirror to me of like, oh, I'm not invested in this kind of way. So what does that say about my work?
No, I think everybody has their different no, I don't feel that way. I see areas in which I could be better. I see areas in which, like, my energy as an entrepreneur is not a CEO archetype, like a Mark Zuckerberg or a, what's the nigga that was like the Apple guy? We're like, I'm the person that I coming to these, to the pitches, and I have all the language, and I'm selling this big dream to other people to like tap into and invest in. I know I've seen people that have the gift and the power and the passion, and I've watched people talk this shit about a business and I've cried because they're so in their story and in their, that's her skill set. She's really, really good at that. I don't think that is my...
Is that a skill set? Yeah, I mean,
it's absolutely...
Delivering it is a skill set, but like, I'm talking about just
that type of
passion.
Leadership. Yeah, no, I don't have that. And I used to beat myself up about it, and I used to be like, oh, you have, but I don't know if that's my angle or that's the way that I have to be. I don't know that all business owners are like that. I don't meet all business owners that are like that. I think what again, and I said in the beginning, which feels, it feels really hard and scary, is that I don't want to, I was seeing something on Instagram, and it was a death doula, and she's worked with people that are dying for many, many years. And she said that there's 4 reasons, probably 4 things that people regret when they're on their deathbed. And one is living a life for somebody else that they didn't really want to live. 2 was working all the time. 3 was not spending time with friends and family. And the 4th one, I don't remember what it was. So I think I'm just trying to be acutely aware of when I am forcing something with Sable, with around the way curls, even in this so-called passion entrepreneurial space, I think we're always being enticed and invited to do what we think everybody else is doing, do what we think everybody thinks we should be doing, versus being in deep relationship with ourselves and being in deep trust of ourselves and listening to like what feels right and what doesn't feel right. And I understand that even for me, that feels really, really crazy and feels really there's not a lot of security in it, and it's like it is subject to change. But I think forcing ourselves to do something feels wildly, I feel like it's the source of a lot of disease in a lot of ways. If you're portraying yourself energetically all the time, it's going to manifest in your body. Like, it's going to seep into all of your relationships. It's going to drive your life in a way and cover your life in a way that is undeniable. And I don't want to do that. And I want to be able to catch it when it does happen. And I think it requires, she was also talking about in the beginning, this idea of faith, of like, I think it's arrogant for us to think that we can map these things out, that we can soften whatever blows or trials or tribulations or upsets, or guarantee whatever blessings and abundance come our way. I just don't think it works like that.
I don't think it's a guarantee. I don't think that most people think that anything's a guarantee. I hear you, but I don't think that I'm guaranteed stability. I know that I'm setting myself up to have some foundation of it, though. I want to ask you, like, and you can tell me to shut up if it's too personal. What are the repercussions of you kind of not playing into this mindset, or the way in which society operates? Because I hear you, but there's something in me that maybe I need to unlearn, that also feels like that's not the way the world works. Like, what are the ramifications of that? Are there financial ramifications?
Sure, I don't have all these things saved up, or, I don't have tons of money saved up. I don't have the best health care. I don't have leisure either in time. Like, a lot of my time is especially taken from Jolie and mothering and attentiveness. Like, yeah, it ain't, there's a lot of things that are sacrificed. But I think the question is, what is important to your internal way of being? If it's like, yo, I got this shit set up and it makes me go to sleep and feel rested and feel good, knowing that I have my own back, I have my future back, that I'm taking care of myself, and I go to bed not feeling like I'm betraying myself, that's really important, because there's a beggar that is living their whole best lives. This, of course, I'm romanticizing it, right? But like, there's people that live very simple lives that don't have any savings. My father, for example, has no savings, is still working. He's 65 years old. But I don't see an unrest in him that I see in my mom, who hasn't had to work for years and is going to be good. She's fine. her restlessness, her anxiety. My dad doesn't have that. And he has hardship. He has physical hardship, but there is something in him that he is not plagued with, that I see in my mom. And my mom, like, also is not a materialist, or like, she ain't set herself up with 401ks. She just has the privilege of being a white woman who, you know, family could pass. She had gotten inheritance. But even in her safety and financial security, and the fact that she doesn't have to work, there is a difference in their way of being.
That might not be the safety that she's looking for.
So I guess that you have to sit with it. And what is, my question is, how are you betraying yourself? Because I don't care if you have everything set up.
Yeah,
you
don't care. But that's something that would keep me up in a different kind of way. And I know myself, and maybe that's fear, and that's the thing that I'm struggling with. Is it cowardice? Is it just fear talking, or is it me knowing, like?
But then there's like a deeper thing of fear in your relationship with fear. That's like, what happens? What is the consequence of it? You know? That I'm not free of. I'm not sitting here saying that, I mean, hopefully you know me well enough to know that that's not something I'm like, oh, I don't have it. But I'm at a place, the older I get, I'm more concerned with my internal way of being, and the ways in which fear, and this idea of security and this idea of success and my relationship with it drives me to betray myself, and how that it becomes like a spider web. It's everywhere. It's not just your job. That shit goes everywhere. And you're just like, it's in my mothering. It's in my friendship. It's in my relationships. To me, that's really serious. That is far more serious and consequential, and something that I don't want to age having never confronted versus anything else. And that is the hardest thing for me as well. But that's my what I value, my value system, I guess. Not to knock anybody else's.
I'm going to play the rest of this so folks can hear it.
It is, in the end, not very safe to use the one life we have, forcing ourselves to do what we know from the outset we won't enjoy, simply in order to keep living. This isn't safety. It's masochism. We may all have to spend our first 2 decades suffering through the education system, but at some point, we are allowed to leave school. At some point, we need to have a shot at answering what life could be about, beyond obedience and timidity. It's not very common to have a passion. Most of us don't. Yet if we are blessed enough to have one, we are risking far more than we should by failing to heed its call.
I think that was perfect and spot on with what you were saying. It's interesting to see the comments on this. First comment is, problem is, the moment you seriously pursue your passion, it becomes your duty. So the question is, should I choose duty or duty? I'm a musician. I love music, but 90% of the days I don't feel like practicing because it's become my way of, I think that they meant like way of making money and sustaining themselves. Duty is inescapable in this society. Someone else writes, I tried following my passion and was broke and stressed, and then switched to a steady job and have only benefited from it. A stable job and extra income to pursue hobbies and support my family has been nothing but a blessing. Someone else wrote, have you really chosen safety if you spend every day unhappy? Passion and duty are not a dichotomy there is no way to escape duty. It's just a matter of whose definition you're using.
Right.
Then this person says, I choose passion, and 15 years in, it is still a grind just to make ends meet. As I get older, I see folks who took an easier path. They can afford things and they can breathe easy. It stings sometimes. Last one is, the problem is, the moment you seriously pursue your passion, it becomes a duty. I already read that one, my bad. The comments under this are really, really interesting. I was like going through them and was trying to find a through line, and there really wasn't one. So I don't think we answered Sis's question at all. I think, again, we're here with more questions than answers. I
think with your skill set and with your way that you manage your life, the way that you have foresight, I really think that you would, whatever you do, you're going to set yourself up for success. It's not a matter of you being a floundering, stagnant person. You're overly qualified to take this on, whatever that is. I don't know what your it is. And I think if there's something that you need to be weighing and diving deep into, is like the blockage of that it, or the avoidance of that it. Because it's not about your financial thing, your capability. You're one of the most competent, capable, brilliant people that I know.
my skill sets don't pay me nothing, though.
No, but again, I think there's an avoidance of something that's not about finance or about the thing either. It's like something else that only.
Are you being nice and not saying it on the podcast?
No, no, I don't know what the thing is. I don't know. If it was, I'd be smacking you like, girl, just do this shit. But I think there's something around avoidance that you avoid. There's something around avoidance that you avoid that work just fits perfectly into. I can't do it because I got to do all this other stuff. I can't sit with this thing because I'm doing all this other stuff that inevitably you're going to have to be like, oh, okay.
Interesting. Okay. I'll sit with it. Again, more questions than answers. Somehow we land back here with this work shit. Shanti doesn't have a passion. She's not playing by our rules. I'm playing by the rules.
What does a passion
and
mean?
I'm not making it. What does a passion mean? I'm passionate.
Who's a passion?
I'm passionate about social justice and speaking truth to power. I'm passionate about that. I've always been that. I'm passionate about, I was once very passionate about performing. Less, if I'm being honest now. It's more something that I just kind of miss and sadly, I don't know what that's about. But I'm passionate about, you can hear it, I think, when I speak on here about certain things. You know when I'm getting passionate. I'm invested in it. I don't know. I don't know how else to describe that.
Mm. No, I don't feel bad about. I don't feel void like it's a void. I'm not saying you are. I'm just saying I don't feel like. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I can't see myself, but I don't. That wouldn't be the word that I would describe about things that I'm excited or curious about.
All right, y'all. Let us know your thoughts. Curious to hear what people think about this one. Thank you for your time. Peace to the gods.
The old and the new.